Listen to me and listen carefully. Your future is not in the hands of luck, it is in the hands of your discipline. Many people pray for change. They hope for success. They dream of a better life. But their mind is untrained, their focus is scattered, and their will is weak. They want the fruit, but they refuse to tend the tree. You cannot build a great destiny with a lazy mind. You cannot rise to the top while bowing to your impulses. The truth is hard, but it will set you free. Every victory you will ever win begins in your head before it happens in your life. If your mind is undisciplined, your life will be undisciplined. If your mind is controlled, your life will be unstoppable. And I am not here to entertain you. I am here to challenge you. Because if you walk away from this moment still chained by your habits, still enslaved to comfort, still listening to the whispers of your excuses, then you have chosen to bury your own potential. But if you stay with me, if you listen until the end, if you let these words pierce through your comfort and ignite your will, you will walk out of this moment a different person. Stronger, sharper, and dangerous to the limitations that once ruled you. Today, I will give you the keys to train your brain for discipline, not just for a week, not just for a month, but for a lifetime. And if you take these keys, nothing and no one will be able to lock the doors of your destiny again. So I'm telling you, sit up, focus, and don't miss a single word. Because this is not just a speech. This is the blueprint for the warrior you were meant to become. Discipline starts in the mind. Before you see it in your actions, before you hear it in your words, it lives in the command center of your brain. The very first battle you will ever fight on your road to greatness is the fight to master your own thoughts. Because if you cannot govern the voice inside your head, you cannot govern your life. It is that simple. The brain is the battlefield where your future is won or lost, and you must become the commander of your own mind. Every day, your mind is assaulted by thousands of distractions, voices of doubt, temptation, fear, and laziness. These are the enemies of discipline, and they will never stop coming at you. But here is the secret. Your brain can be trained to obey you instead of obeying them. The power is yours to command. The question is, will you take it? Imagine your mind is like a wild horse. It can either run free, throwing you off and leaving you lost in the chaos of your own impulses, or it can be tamed and harnessed, carrying you steadily toward your goals. But taming that horse does not happen by accident. It requires intention, practice, and most importantly, self-command. It demands that you decide right now that your thoughts will serve you, not sabotage you. To master your mind means to become aware of the patterns that run your life without your permission. Notice how often you say things like, I can't, I'm too tired, it's too hard, or I'll do it later. These phrases are the chains that keep your mind enslaved to weakness. Discipline begins the moment you break free from these chains and say, oh no, I will control my thoughts. I will be the master of my mind. This is not easy, and it will never be easy, because your brain has been conditioned for comfort, for the path of least resistance. Evolutionarily, it is wired to protect you from pain, to avoid effort, to seek pleasure. But you are not here to live an easy life. You are here to build a legacy. And legacies are forged in the fire of self-command. You must understand that every thought you allow to grow in your mind is like planting a seed. If you nurture doubt, fear, and laziness, those seeds will sprout into failure, regret, and disappointment. But if you cultivate confidence, courage, and determination, your harvest will be success, growth, and triumph. So how do you train your brain to obey you? The first step is awareness. No. You must catch yourself in the act of thinking the thoughts that hold you back. When you feel the pull to quit, to procrastinate, or to give in, pause and name that thought. Say it out loud or in your mind. This is fear. This is laziness. This is distraction. Labeling your enemy weakens its power. Next, you must replace that thought immediately with the commanding truth. I am stronger than this moment. I will act now. Repetition is your ally here. The brain is a muscle that grows stronger with every conscious decision you make to override your impulses. Each time you win that internal battle, your mind learns a new command. Obey my will. It is also critical to create mental rituals that reinforce this self-command. Begin each day by setting a clear intention. Today, I control my mind. I will act with discipline. Visualize yourself succeeding. See your goals as already achieved in your mind's eye. When your brain believes in the possibility, it works harder to make it reality. And when distraction or temptation comes, as it will, remind yourself that these are tests. The brain loves to take the easy road, but every time you resist, you teach it a new path, a stronger pathway toward discipline. This is how habits are rewired, not by ignoring the struggle, but by confronting it head-on and refusing to surrender. Understand this. Self-command is not about suppressing emotions or becoming rigid. It is about mastering your mind's direction so that your actions align with your highest purpose. It means feeling the discomfort of resistance, but choosing to move forward anyway. It means saying a no to momentary pleasure for the sake of lasting victory. The brain, once trained, becomes your fiercest ally. It sharpens your focus, fuels your willpower, and propels you toward your destiny without hesitation. But if left untamed, it will betray you with doubt, distraction, and defeat. So commit yourself today to mastering the power of self-command. Watch your thoughts as a hawk watches its prey. Intervene whenever weakness arises. Speak to yourself with authority. Train your brain to obey your will, and you will unlock a discipline so powerful that nothing in the world can stop you. Because the first step in training your brain for discipline is mastering your mind, and once that is done, the rest will follow. Discipline is not born out of grand gestures or sudden bursts of willpower. It is built, brick by brick, moment by moment, through the power of consistency. You cannot leap into discipline overnight and expect it to hold you up for a lifetime. It is a marathon, not a sprint. The brain does not respond to massive changes all at once. It responds to small, repeated victories that shape it gradually and deeply. Think about it. The most disciplined people you know didn't become that way by doing something extraordinary just once. They became disciplined because day after day, in the smallest moments, they made the choice to do what others would not. Waking up on time, saying no to distractions, finishing what they started, even when they didn't feel like it. These seemingly insignificant decisions accumulate until they become the very fabric of their character. Your brain learns through repetition. Every action you take reinforces a neural pathway, making it easier for your brain to do the same thing again. When you commit to a small positive habit, your brain starts to wire itself for success. When you skip a workout, give in to distraction, or break a promise to yourself, your brain also takes note and rewires itself for weakness. Discipline is the result of this ongoing process of rewiring. This is why consistency is the secret weapon of discipline. Not motivation, not inspiration, but consistency. Motivation comes and goes like the wind. It is unreliable and fleeting. But consistency builds a foundation so strong that no storm of doubt or temptation can shake it. Your brain begins to expect discipline, to crave it, because it knows it leads to results. You might ask, but how do I stay consistent when I don't feel like it? When the excuses pile up and my energy fades? That is exactly the challenge. And the moment where your discipline is forged. You see, discipline is not about always feeling strong. It is about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel strong. The consistent soldier keeps marching even when the path is rough. Start small, but start every day. Commit to tiny victories that you know you can win. Wake up 5 minutes earlier, write one sentence, take a short walk, meditate for 2 minutes. These are not grand accomplishments on their own, but when done repeatedly, they form a habit. And habits are the silent architects of your future. Once your brain recognizes the pattern, it begins to automate the behavior, saving energy and effort so you don't have to struggle with willpower all the time. And here is another truth. Consistency breeds momentum. The first time you push yourself to act despite resistance feels hard. The 10th time feels less hard. By the 100th time, it feels natural. Your brain no longer fights you but cooperates with you. The energy you once wasted on hesitation is now directed toward forward motion. Consistency also builds trust within yourself. When you keep promises to yourself, your brain gains confidence in your ability to lead your own life. That confidence is the soil where discipline grows deepest. But if you constantly break promises, skip tasks, procrastinate, give in to weakness, your brain loses respect for you, and your self-discipline crumbles. You must become your own most reliable ally. Imagine the power of waking up each morning knowing you will follow through with your commitments no matter what. That is the power of small, repeated victories. It trains your brain to expect discipline as the norm, not the exception. And don't underestimate the power of celebrating those small wins. Recognition is fuel for the brain's reward system. When you acknowledge your progress, even the tiniest steps forward, your brain releases chemicals that make you feel good and reinforce the behavior. This makes it easier to continue. Discipline, therefore, is not a cold, joyless task. It is a source of deep satisfaction when built with care. But be warned, consistency does not mean perfection. There will be days you fail, days you slip. This is inevitable. What defines your discipline is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to stay down. When you fall, you get back up immediately and continue your journey. The brain respects resilience. It learns from your persistence more than your perfection. Your life will not be transformed by one heroic act, but by the countless small decisions you make every day. Each time you choose to do the hard thing, you are training your brain to be disciplined. Each time you resist the urge to quit, your brain becomes stronger. Each time you honor your commitments, your brain becomes more loyal to you. So understand this: discipline is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through repeated use. Do not wait for motivation to strike. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now, in the small, consistent acts that build your character and reshape your brain. Every day, you are either training your brain for discipline or training it for defeat. There is no neutral ground. The choice is yours. Make your daily victories non-negotiable and watch how your life changes, not in a day, but for a lifetime. Discipline lives in the daily grind, in the repeated yes to your goals, in the small victories that no one sees but you. And when your brain is wired for consistency, discipline will become your second nature, unstoppable and unwavering. Your brain was built to seek comfort and avoid pain. It is wired to protect you from hardship and lead you toward ease. This is the nature of the human mind, always searching for pleasure, always running from discomfort. But discipline demands something greater. It demands that you stand in the discomfort, that you resist the call of comfort traps, and that you choose the hard path because it leads to growth and victory. Comfort traps are everywhere, disguised as moments of rest, as justified breaks, as innocent indulgences. They whisper to you softly, "Just this once, you deserve it. And tomorrow is a better day." And every time you listen, your brain takes the easy route, the path of least resistance, the road to mediocrity. Discipline is about rewiring your mind to see these traps for what they truly are, enemies disguised as friends. When you give in to comfort traps, your brain learns that avoiding discomfort is more important than achieving your goals. It strengthens the habit of instant gratification, weakening your ability to delay pleasure for a greater reward. But when you resist, you teach your brain a different lesson: that growth, success, and discipline live beyond the edge of comfort. Imagine the strength it takes to say a no to the couch when your body is tired but your dreams are calling. Imagine the power in choosing the gym over the snack table, the book over the screen, the work over the excuse. Each time you choose discomfort in service of your purpose, your brain rewires itself to embrace that discomfort as a necessary step toward greatness. This reprogramming is not simple or painless. The brain resists change because change threatens its survival instincts. But discipline requires you to be greater than survival. It requires you to be a warrior, willing to feel the discomfort, to stare it in the eye, and to move forward anyway. One of the greatest lies your mind will tell you is that comfort equals safety. But true safety is found in strength, in resilience, in preparation. When you stay too long in comfort, you weaken your muscles, physical, mental, and emotional. You dull your senses, you lose your edge, and you become vulnerable to failure. Discipline means breaking that cycle. Your brain can be trained to revalue discomfort as an ally instead of a foe. It begins with awareness, recognizing when you are falling into a comfort trap and naming it. The moment you say to yourself, "This is a comfort trap trying to hold me back," you weaken its power. Then replace that thought with a fierce reminder that discomfort is the price of growth. I choose growth. Visualize discomfort as a doorway. On one side is ease and stagnation. On the other side is progress and transformation. Discipline is the key that unlocks the door, and it demands that you step through even when it is hard. Your brain will scream at you to turn back, but you must train it to listen to your higher voice, the voice of purpose, vision, and strength. There will be moments when discomfort feels unbearable. In those moments, remember that every champion, every leader, every person who achieved greatness has walked that path. They have felt the burn of sacrifice, the ache of perseverance, and the sting of resistance, but they kept moving. They pressed through the pain, knowing that on the other side was victory. You must do the same. Build a relationship with discomfort. Learn to welcome it as a sign you are growing, not failing. When you see discomfort as a signal of progress, your brain begins to rewire itself to seek it out instead of running away. This shift is the foundation of true discipline. Resisting comfort traps is not about denying yourself joy or rest. It is about choosing your joy and rest with intention, not addiction. It is about balancing discipline with wisdom, knowing when to push hard and when to recover. The mind that is trained for discipline does not rebel against all pleasure. It masters pleasure by choosing it strategically and not allowing it to control the outcome. Every time you overcome the urge to stay comfortable at the expense of your goals, you strengthen your mental muscles. This strength becomes a shield against future temptations. Your brain, once conditioned to avoid discomfort, learns that discomfort is a challenge to be met, not a danger to be feared. So begin today to reprogram your mind. When the voice of comfort calls, answer with the voice of discipline. When your brain craves the easy path, remind it that greatness lives beyond the edge of comfort. Train your mind to see discomfort not as punishment, but as the necessary gateway to freedom and success. Because the moment you master this, your discipline will become unshakable. Excuses are the silent killers of discipline. They sneak in dressed as logic, comfort, and even self-care, convincing you to delay, to weaken, to surrender. They sound reasonable on the surface, but underneath, they are the chains that bind your potential. Every excuse you allow is a betrayal of your own greatness. Discipline demands that you see excuses for what they truly are. Lies that steal your power and rob you of your destiny. When the mind begins to justify failure or delay with excuses, it creates a dangerous pattern. One excuse leads to another, and soon your brain is wired to avoid responsibility and chase the comfort of avoidance. You start to believe that you are powerless, that circumstances control you, that you are a victim of your environment. But discipline tells a different story. You are the commander of your life, the master of your choices. Excuses often come in subtle forms. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time. I'll start tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. These words sound harmless, but they are poison. They tell your brain that it is okay to postpone growth, to delay action, to settle for less. If you listen to excuses, you build a mental fortress of limitation around yourself, brick by brick. The first step to breaking free from the grip of excuses is to recognize when they arise. Awareness is your weapon. When you catch yourself making an excuse, stop immediately. Ask yourself, is this a truth or just a story my mind is telling to avoid discomfort? Most often it is a story, a convenient escape disguised as reality. Once you expose the excuse, replace it with an unwavering command. I will act now. I am responsible, and my success depends on my choices today. Speak these words with authority, not as a wish, but as a decree. Your brain responds to the tone of your voice and the clarity of your command. The more decisively you reject excuses, the more your mind will align with discipline. It is important to understand that rejecting excuses does not mean being harsh with yourself or denying genuine needs. Discipline is not cruelty. It is clarity and strength. It means distinguishing between valid self-care and excuse-making. Genuine rest, recovery, and planning are tools for longevity, not traps to avoid work. When you give yourself permission to care for your body and mind wisely, you build a foundation that supports discipline instead of breaking it. Excuses thrive in moments of weakness and indecision. That is why discipline must become automatic, a habit so ingrained that excuses find no room to breathe. This happens through repetition and commitment. The more often you choose action over excuse, the stronger your mental muscles become. You create a new default setting in your brain. No excuses, only results. Surround yourself with reminders of your purpose and your goals. When excuses try to creep in, let your vision pull you back. Remind yourself why you started, who you are fighting for, and what is at stake. This vision becomes a powerful anchor, grounding your mind when temptation to make excuses arises. Another powerful strategy is accountability. Share your commitments with someone who will hold you responsible. When you know someone is watching your progress, the brain feels more pressure to deliver. Excuses lose their power when you have to answer to another human being. Accountability forces you to act, to follow through, and to grow. Remember this, every time you choose to make an excuse, you delay your progress and undermine your future. Every time you say, I will, instead of I can't, you build a fortress of discipline that no obstacle can break. Excuses are a choice, and so is discipline. The power lies within you to decide which voice you will obey. Train your brain to shut down excuses instantly. When an excuse whispers, respond loudly, and not today, I am committed. Make this response a habit until it becomes your reflex. This is how you reclaim your power. This is how you become unshakable in your discipline. Because discipline is not just about action. It is about the mindset that refuses to accept anything less than your highest potential. And that mindset does not tolerate excuses.